Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Live from the Shop. This is our live chat show, Working in the Garage show, presented by Drag Driver Pete. Want to thank Mike and Eric for letting me do this. This is basically a Zoom call, so if you want to join in from your garage and show everybody what you're working on, I'm working on the Barracuda today. Just call in and hang out, shoot some comments over here. If you want to join, just message me or leave me a comment here, and I'll send you the link, and we'll have some fun this evening. I think today I'm going to be working on the carburetor a little bit, especially if some jets show up. And then I've got to make a cover for the oil lines that go under the oil pan just to make sure that nothing can accidentally snag them, low clearance or anything like that. So that's what I'm working on today. I think I'll start with at least get the carburetor off and start to take it apart on the bench. And we'll go from there. Let's see, is that give us a good, yeah, that will, okay. Get the hood off the car. Oh, blankets on the other side. Trying to get the car ready. I've got a there's an event at Extreme Raceway Park this Saturday that I've got some friends participating in, and there's also some test and tune. So I think I'm gonna try and get over to that just to get some drive testing in. It's a good 60-mile drive one way, and then also some testing and see how the car performs since the engine rebuild. Okie dokie. All right. Let's see. What all do we need to do to take this off? Let's undo our return spring and our throttle cable. Make sure not to lose our throttle cable clip. And on this side, it'll be the vacuum line. I'll do the fuel line last. I'll empty the bowls and pour them back into a gas can or something. Oh, the TV cable needs to come off. That's on the bottom. There we go. Okay. All right. I don't have any plugs for the fuel line, but get those off. We'll take them off. We'll leave the rail on the car. These are 5/8, right? No, they're 11/16 or 3/4. There we go. I think it'll be easier if I don't care where I drop the fuel, if I just take the carburetor off full of fuel and dump it out the vents. Do I have my drain cup? I do. It's got some bugs in it. I wouldn't want to reuse that fuel anyway. Let's see. Rodney's Rods, good evening. Shop time is the best therapy. At the cabin today, choking. What are you choking on? Oh, chilling. Chilling. Spell check. What? Well, glad you're here, Rodney's Rods. Hope the cabin is lovely right now. Oh yeah. I wish I could make this thing ding when y'all comment so that I can pay attention and come and check on that. I don't know. That's a good question. Let me get... just wipe this out and drain the fuel into here. Hopefully the gasoline doesn't eat through this too quickly. I'm probably just going to dump the Venturis into here and then put this outside to evaporate. Okay. So what I'm doing tonight is not necessarily a blind overhaul of the carburetor, but essentially just a little bit of a factory reset, just because I've learned some things and I've been seeing some issues with it while driving, and I'm going to try to essentially get myself back to a good baseline. So let me drain this. And then I'll get a tray to take this apart on. Okay. There's a lot of fuel hanging out in this secondary bowl. Come on. There you go. Yeah, there's still a little more in the primary bolt. Okay. Move this light. So get to the tray. There we go. I need a WAF Racing carburetor stand. Put that out there. All right. And the bowl of potential fire is outside. Let's see. Here where y'all can see what we're doing and hang out. Rodney, nice to see someone working on something not run of the mill. Love those Barracudas. I race a 65 Mercury Comet. Those are sweet. Also not mainstream. What's on the hood? It is a 5.9 Magnum block. Hopefully you can still hear me. I just switched the head around. It's a 5.9 Magnum block that's got a really big stroke in it, and a big bore. And so it's 454 cubic inches with some Brodix heads and an 850 double flipper on it. Where is my... I bet I threw it in the passenger seat. It's starting to warp. There it is. Yeah. Use this as my carburetor stand. And it makes probably about 430 to the tire. That was the last dyno session I had on it. Oh, the stud's just barely too long. Just take the stud out. Run a Besta 707 in the 8th. It's got a 46 RH overdrive. Well, that's very curious. This thing doesn't even... So what is that? Because that's not a transfer slot. The rear almost just has like... They're like ports. The front has actual slots. They're transfer slots. There's too much of them showing, but I have to just to get the idle high enough. But now that I'm seeing this, I wonder if I can open the rears even more to get the idle I want and shut the fronts to get the transfer slot where it's supposed to be. It's a good question. This is supposed to sit. Keeps catching on a gasket. There you go. Now the kit probably closes like normal. Yep, it closes like normal. I almost broke my kit because I couldn't put it back together right. All right. Let's see if we can take the bowls off with this little screwdriver. So, am I looking at this right? Yes, this is the primary. Okay. Because the vacuum port's right underneath it. Okay. So what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna reestablish exactly what's going on as far as my jetting and power valve restrictor combination. I don't remember exactly what restrictors I have on the power valve. I just know I've changed them. But I've got a very, very lean cruise that I need to richen up. But my wide open throttle tuning, at least before this rebuild, was pretty good. So I want to make sure that once I'm done here, the total fuel area is the same. So if I'm going to richen the jets, I need to lean out the power valve restrictors on the primary, and then I also need to make a little bit more of a change than that because I want to even out my front to rear fueling, because right now I have way more fuel in the primaries than I do in the secondaries. Okay, that's pretty cool. This is a WAF Racing carburetor toolkit, and it's got every tool you need to take one of these things apart. All right. Now that I can see my power valve restrictors, actually the one thing it doesn't have, and I may have to add to it, is my own personal tiny little flathead for getting these power valve restrictors. They're a really, really tiny flathead, and I don't think this toolkit has one. So, but I don't need to take them out to pin them. Let's see, what do these pins go to? These go from 11 thousandths to 60 thousandths. And then I have a bigger kit that goes from 61 all the way to, how big does that thing go? 61 to 250 thousandths. So we're going to start at 60. So I think I remember these being like 62 or more. Oh, they are definitely more. Hang on. Or are they? I can't tell if I'm just... All right, I'm going to have to take one out. I have the same kit and recommend it. Yeah, I haven't gotten to play with it a ton because I bought it when the car was down, so I'm finally getting to mess with it. And I'm really happy about it. I spent a bunch of time on last week's live stream actually finally starting to load up the jet tray, the jet trays. I did the air bleed tray so far, and I need to do the jet tray before I go to my test and tune on Saturday. Tiny screwdriver. This is my go-to mini screwdriver. I wonder if I can figure out a way to finagle it into the kit somewhere. But this one may, yeah, this one's too small. See if I can find a slightly bigger flathead. That snap-on one's too big. I need... It's old school Stanley. Will this fit in there? No. I know I mean, I've obviously changed these before, but I did it at a dyno session, so I may have borrowed a screwdriver there. I may need to go inside and find like a junk drawer screwdriver that's the right size. Ooh, hang on. I use this for other things, but it may fit. Nope. Okay. Oh, hang on. Here we go. Ring camera screwdriver. That is the perfect screwdriver. I may just throw this bit into the kit and then I can use like a generic screwdriver holder when I'm on the go. Oh yeah, these are, okay, these are huge. Okay, so these are way bigger than my biggest pin in my small kit. So now I got to get the big kit out. Now I got to find a place to put the big kit. Start with putting some jets away. Put that down before I lose it. Ooh, where'd you just come from? You probably bounced out of the toolkit. Yep. Go back in there. All right. Put that there. Okie dokie. I've got some trash here that can get thrown away. Some rags and get slid to the side. That ought to do it. All right. Now we have room for our pin kit. This screwdriver bit can go back in there. All right. Let's see what we're working with. For a 707 eighth, what RPM do you launch it at? It actually has a really crappy launch right now. It's got a supposedly 3200 stall converter in it from PATC back when they made converters for this 46RH. And but I can't get it to foot brake that high. And my bet I don't have a ton of passes on it, so my best results were always off idle flashing the converter. So it only does like a 162 60 foot. So if I could get it to actually launch and maybe build some brake pressure on the line and do a foot brake launch, I could probably get it into the 150s and hopefully break into the 690s, maybe high 680s if I could really get it to move out of the hole. But right now, yeah, it's really lacking on the front side. Not so bad on the back side. I rev it out to 7 grand. It goes through the traps in the 8th mile and second gear at like 7,200. What was I doing? Oh, I was going to start pinning this to remember what size I drilled these to. All right. So then we can really start to figure out our total fuel area and really start to map out what I want to change my jets to. 73, step up to 75. Let's go to 77. I think my power valve my power valve restrictors are definitely bigger than my jets. 78, 79. 78 is our winner. Yes, 78. We will take the other one out now. But I'm cruising at like 18, 19 to 1, which is just way too lean. And a year ago, I thought it was, and it could still be the issue. I thought I was driving on the transfer slot circuit because I was having some rich cruising issues. And so I put transfer slot restrictors in. Those may go back in still because I think like low speed cruising, like 30, 40 miles an hour, I'm still having that problem. But on the highway, I'm super lean, and taking the transfer slot restrictors out did not fix that, which tells me I am actually pulling on the jets, at least on the highway. Okay, so yeah, both of these are pinning 78. Okay. If I can figure out how to share my screen, I wonder if I can. Well, I don't mean to do this on the live, but I do need to take this call. Sorry about that. If you have two-piece headers, you can have an air intrusion into the header, and any downstream air fuel readings will appear to lean. I need to put some clean plugs in to read it, but it's a one-piece header, and so I'm pretty sure it's pretty accurate. Because as soon as I tip in and hit these guys, accelerator pumps, it immediately richens up. So, and it's on I have a removable primary on the driver header, but the go-to sensor's on the passenger header. So I'm pretty sure it's not an exhaust leak, and it's been consistent every time the engine and headers have been in and out of the car. Are we going to bed? Ooh, carburetor parts, another car parts. Yay, drill bits. We can make new power valve restrictors. Okay. Good night, Bubba. I love you. You already look tired. Yeah, don't drop your pacifier in here. The floor is dirty. I love you, Bubba. Give me a kiss. Come here. Mwah. Good night. Smiley boy. Go inside, pups. Hemi, go inside. Good boy, Hoosier. No, Speedy's inside. So we're gonna. What else do I have? What are these? What I'm gonna do is turn the air conditioning down. It is 80. It is set to 82. It is hot in here. $75. I can live at 77. I can live at 77. What is? I'm like a squirrel. What did I get in this bag? Is this the other set of drill bits? I don't think so. No. Okay. Oh, I put quantity 2 on these. I have these core support starter buttons for check and lash, and I put quantity 2, and I must have forgotten that they come with a 2-pack. So I have 4 new starter buttons, which is nice to have spares, because one was basically dead out of the box. Okay. Back to what I was doing. All right. If I can, I wonder if I can share a tab, because I think this would be kind of cool to show y'all. Let's see. Custom layout guest. New layout settings. I don't. What is that? Extra camera, slides and PDFs, video file, image file, share screen. Sharing screen is easiest with 2 monitors. Okay. Share screen. Jet fueling. Share. Okay. I'm going to play with this for a minute. So what I've got here is I've made myself just a little rudimentary calculator. So I'm currently inputting all of my jet info. So I'm pinning out my primary jets to get an accurate jetting reading. And a 64 goes into both of my primary jets. So we're going to put 64 here. And then I have 78s in my power valve restrictors. I made those with a drill bit. And now we're going to take off our secondary bowl. I don't know if y'all are able to swap between. That'd be cool if I could like. Oh, okay, cool. You can see me and my screen. Cool. All right. Now if I can remember where I set my tool down. There we go. We're going to take off the other bowl and pin our secondary jets just to confirm our baseline. Last time I put that on was with a tool with a decent bit more torque. Okay. All right. Really don't want to tear a bowl gasket because I only have so many of those. This bowl needs, Dremels with fire with gasoline is not the best thing, but it needs just a little bit of clearancing right here because it catches on the choke horn, not the choke horn, the vacuum tube on the back. All right. Getting primary blocks off is fun. Like, I really don't want to go to concussive force, but sometimes it feels like it's necessary. Let's see if I can just gently get a screwdriver behind it. Or is this the prying hole? No. I may have to hit it with an orange hammer because it's being stubborn. I use the small one. That is stuck on there. Is this what I get for running just regular gasoline? Is this my punishment? Is this my penance? Where is a safe place to pry on this? I really don't want to damage anything. How about right here? Maybe if I had a thinner screwdriver. It's just got a really good hold on that gasket. It doesn't want to let go. Wow, that is... I mean, this thing's been stuck on before, but I've never had it be this stuck on. And maybe it's just because I also have the carburetor on a bench and not held down by the bolts on the intake. Let's see, does anyone have tips for getting this damn thing off? Send me a link, I'll join. Chris says, send me a link, I'll join. Okay, hang on one sec. Invite guest. All right, let me get you invited. Hang on. Chris. That is not who I want to send that to. Apparently the Wi-Fi is like just bad enough that I can't open Messenger here on this side of the shop. I raise the laptop up, does that help? Let's see. Reload. Chris. There you go, Chris. You've got the link. Well, I don't technically have to remove this bowl to mess with the... Wait, I've got a power valve in the secondary. Since when do I have a power valve in the secondary? I could have sworn I plugged that. Well, this is changing everything. So I've got 81s in here and a power valve. Okay. What do they actually pin out to? I know once you get bigger, they pin out to way bigger. Now I'm really confused. I thought I knew what was in my stuff, and I don't. I shouldn't need a power valve in the secondaries. That just enters a complication. All right. I can fit a 93 through one of them, but not both, so we're going to call them 92s. All right. All right, so hang on. So these are secondary jets. Call it 92. Well, hang on. Here we go. This is our current setup. 92. And evidently we have power valve restrictors in here, so now I get to do even more math. Chris, I sent you that referral link. Let me know if you didn't get it. What is going on with my go? There we go. Okay. Well, now that I see that there is a power valve in here, I must have forgotten changing that back to a power valve. I do vaguely remember that being in there on Six Smokies last year. Let me see. Oy. Now I got to get this off because now I got to check what the hell's in here. I've never had a metering block fight me this bad. Really don't want to score things up. There's like no place to grab this thing if it's stuck on. Besides, like right there, I'm not sure what that is, but I'm pretty sure I don't want to just be jamming a screwdriver into it, but maybe that's what it's for. There's a machined hole in the side of the metering block that, from what I can tell, isn't doing a whole lot. That's just bending that tool. Is the screwdriver small enough to fit in there? Nope. All right. What about this one? This one's smaller. Nope. Anything much smaller than that is just going to bend. I don't care about this screwdriver at all. And it fits. But man, it bent it. We bent a screwdriver and we can't get the metering block off. All right. We're going to have to be a little meaner. Where's the hammer? Come here. Wow, this is impressive. Tonight on Live from the Shop, watch Cole struggle to get a metering block off of a carburetor. Son of a biscuit. Anyone got any tips? Oh, Chris is backstage. Chris, welcome.
Hello, what's happening?
How are you?
Good. Good.
Man, I am riding the struggle bus right now.
Well, I've been riding it for a while with my motor build as well. It's not nearly as far along as I'd hoped. We got a rotating assembly, but
Oh, we have a rotating assembly? I'm over here trying to
we got a
get
rotating
metering
assembly.
block.
That is good. Everything is in and working. So I'm making progress on that. Although I've never dealt with roller lifters before, so I'm learning about small block Fords and roller lifters, which is a whole thing. Especially if it's an early block, it doesn't have the correct location, or the bore for the lifter is not tall enough, so you have to order a specific Howard's cam lifter
Okay.
to make it work.
They're like shorty lifters or something to fit in the bore.
So that's been a struggle. But I think I got the correct ones. Do you soak those in oil?
Are they hydraulic lifters?
I must be muted. Hang on.
It's like hang on, can you hear me? My mic shows I'm talking. I don't know how well you can hear me. Turn your volume up. Here, hang on. Let me. How about now? Can you hear me now? Rodney asked what size small block Ford you build. Just picked up a 347 yesterday from my builder for a 68 Cougar.
Yeah, it's a 347 stroker is what I just got done putting the rotating assembly together on. But I can't hear you, Cole. So
You still can't hear me?
Exactly why.
Turn your volume up. Rodney, can you hear? I hear him. Rodney, can you hear me? Is the problem on my end? My mic is on. Still here. Struggling. Let's see. Okay, he's gonna try to rejoin. Okay, Rodney can hear us both, so we'll just wait till he rejoins and then I'll add him back on. Okay. Rodney, you got any tips for getting a stuck metering block off? I didn't think this would be something I'm struggling with. Chris, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, we're all good.
Great.
Yes. So, what all did you hear? Anything?
Yeah, I heard everything you said. You couldn't hear me, but
okay.
The audience could hear both of us. I think it's just a glitch on your end.
Okay. So, do you usually soak your roller lifters in oil? I've seen people put them in like vacuum containers and all this weird stuff. You just got to soak them, or what?
Are they hydraulic rollers?
Yes.
It's hydraulic roller.
Yes.
I'm a little different. I do mine. I don't soak mine.
Okay.
Because I built LS engines for 3 years, and we always set our push rod length with the lifters empty so that we could make sure they were plunged all the way to the bottom, because we always set our preload. We set the plunger like really, really far down. Like we would use a 20 thousandths feeler gauge up at the rocker, and that's how close to the bottom of the plunger travel we wanted the lifter, because we wanted as little aerated oil inside the lifter messing with things.
Let's see.
But most people do soak them, and then you just go with the push rod that gets you into the middle of the travel, and you'll be fine.
Yeah,
But
and
you don't need to do the whole vacuum thing or anything like that.
right.
You can just soak them, or I always just covered them the outside with oil and then stuck them in, and then they'll get oil when you prime it.
Right. Okay. And these are tie bar style, and they have the guy from Howard's told me they have a very short. Usually when you set like a hydraulic one, you get them with 0 lash and then go a half a turn. The guy told me with these to only go a quarter turn because they're so short. They don't have the normal amount.
They're a short travel lifter. I would listen to him then and do it based off that.
Yeah, that's what he said at Howard's. So I just got him the other day. So yeah, so that's what I'm up to. I'm going to get you guys propped up here.
Rodney, I got out the bigger hammer. It's still not working. Dang it. I'm trying not to tear things up. Wait. I may have to go bolt this back down to the engine just so. Oh, wait. Haha. We're finally free. Okay, finally. Good Lord. That was a mess. Put the dangerous object away. Okay. So you're working on getting your valve train in, or your heads on yet?
No, I think I'm going to have to take a trip to Summit tomorrow. I was going to redo my old heads, but the problem is that we have 15 days till drag week. And I don't think I'm going to have enough time because I'm going from flat tap at the hydraulic roller.
Yeah.
And the springs are different. The spring seats are different. Everything's different. So I'm like, well, I can take them to the machine shop and hopefully they'll be done in time, or I'm just going to have to buckle down and buy a new set of heads, which the ones I have are old they're Speedmaster. They weren't great to start with, but I'm on a budget here. So I'm trying to, but I figure I got enough money in the stroker kit and everything else tied up in it that putting a good set of heads on it's going to be a good idea. And then I can do another build with the other motor, for another car or whatever. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I think I'm going to maybe take a trip to Summit tomorrow, return some stuff that I got because I bought the springs. And then I was like, well, by the time I take them heads and have them done somewhere, and I don't have the spring pressure tool to do it myself, So I decided, well, I'll just go get a set of heads. They're not too badly priced, and put those on, and then I should be then I'll be cooking with oil.
Gotcha. Well, I just made an interesting discovery myself. So I don't know how long have you been watching before you got on?
I was for a while.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was pulling it apart, and I was like, okay, I'm mapping out all my fueling, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get the back off and double check the rear jets, but I'm pretty sure I don't have a power valve in it. Well, I have a power valve in it, so I was like, okay, I need to figure out what restrictors are in the power valve so that I can add that to my fueling chart. I've just got power valve blanks here in the back. Oh. So I've got a power valve in there for no reason. Like I need to just put a block in there and then I can use these blanks to make new restrictors. I don't know what I was. This must have been my long day at the dyno and I just wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. And because now I've got, what is this? I think it's a 5.5 power valve that I can just set to the side and hold on to for a rainy day. And I can put my power valve block in here and it's basically doing the same thing. Yeah. Some sleep deprivation or fuel fumes must have contributed to that. Yeah. So let's put this back in here. And let's just throw this block in here. That way there's no confusion that, yes, this thing has no power valve. Weird. Okay. What was Cole thinking? And there was 2 gaskets on it. That or it ripped this gasket in half. I think it ripped the gasket in half. Yeah, I think it pulled the layers of the gasket apart because this is like No, those are just two separate gaskets. For some reason, I had two on there, but they're really thin compared to the red ones. Okay, I'm glad I'm doing this.
What brand carburetor is it?
It's a Demon 850.
Nice. That's another thing I got to do is buy a carburetor because I went from E85 back to regular gas.
Yeah.
So now had an ATM Innovation carburetor on there. It worked good. So I'm
I've
probably
heard
gonna.
really good things about those.
Yeah, I mean they're very affordable. I mean, for what they are. The last one I got, I pretty much put it on the car right out of the box, and it seemed to do okay. I mean, with my limited understanding of carburetors.
That's what I've heard as well. Is as long as you're honest about your application with them, they pretty much get you set up out of the box.
Right, they're pretty good. So I gotta order one of them and get it on its way, and then I'm gonna get heads and a clutch, and I think I should be about done. The car's back, by the way. I got it back from the body shop. It looks great. Got it wet
Oh,
sanded and buffed out, and then it's just sitting over there waiting for the motor to go in it. So
that's awesome. Okay, so what have we got? All right, total fuel area is 14.6. Okay, so now I need to play around and increase both of these until my fuel area is good. Okay. So theoretically, if all right, I gotta do some math here.
math it up.
Yeah, so I'm cruising at like 19 to 1, and I want to be cruising at like 14.5 to 1, at least to start with. Times.
Yeah.
Here, 492. Square root that. No.
Ridiculous.
Oh, okay, hang on. Recommended fuel area is 0.0046. Okay, so we know. Okay, so we need a 76 jet for cruising. Okay. All right, so let's start there. One thing at a time. All right. Okay, so I really hope I don't just completely screw the drivability of this thing.
Well, it's pretty easy to go back if it.
Yeah, it's like now I have it documented of what everything is and what everything pins to. So if I want to go back, I can.
Yeah, figuring out the numbers is the hard part. Once you know them, you can be like, well, it drove good here, so I can go back,
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go try to find a container to get those soaking for now. Do you document all your part numbers for all your stuff when you're putting a motor together? Because I never used to, but I do now.
I should be better about it. I have a drawer that I throw all my receipts in, and every now and then I go back through and like organize the drawer.
Yeah. This motor built, I have been saving every piece of cardboard with every part number on it, writing them all down, all my clearances, everything, like every single part number.
I would highly recommend doing that.
And then that way, if I take it with me, I'm probably going to try to get them laminated so they don't get ruined, or make a copy of them maybe, and then take them with me. And then if something breaks, you can just be like, oh, I know I need this part number from Summit or whatever, Another struggle I ran into since I've been riding the struggle bus is the Woodruff key. So the scat crank didn't come with one, and the one that's in my old crank is junk. So I ordered one from Summit, and it was the wrong one. It's too long. My dad did find one out of another small block Ford that's correct. So now I just got it, but it's all beat up. So now I got to find a like I said, I'm going to Summit tomorrow, so I'll return them other ones. It's a real
It's all,
long looking one. I'll hold it up.
yeah, I recommend keeping like some key stock just in your garage. That's a cheap thing to have, and it's just like they're just thin bars, and you can just make your own keys as you need to.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think it'd be pretty difficult to make that one because it's half moon, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if I had to, I could do it, but I think I'm just going to buy a couple spares and do it that way.
Okay. All right. These pin to 76. All right. So we're stepping up from, what did I say? From a 64 pin to a 76 pin. All right. So that ought to richen us up on the highway, which we need. But now I need to lean out the power valve restrictors for going down track, because that's gonna screw me up. Because my down track AFR, anytime I deviated away from it jetting wise, I always slowed down. So I try to always get it back to that fueling. Okay. All right. All right. Now we've got those. Okay. So here on. So what is these are marked as 65s. So we'll drop them back into 65s.
Container. See if it fit in here.
Okay, so let me see. All right.
That container now.
So our total fuel area is 0.0146. So I need to richen. Let's see. Okay, right now we're pretty much 1-to-1. So what if I make this a 0.06 and this 94? Okay, 95. Okay, that's pretty close. All right, now let's measure. Open these drill bits and measure what I have as far as options to make new restrictors. I think I have more drill bits coming tomorrow if I can't get what I want out of these.
Okay.
Last time I bought really small drill bits, I didn't think about it. And I just bought like just drill bits. And something you don't think about is if you don't have like specialty like small drill bit chucks, is once you get down past a certain size, they won't chuck up in like your normal drill.
Right.
But these, they come with like just like a hex drive.
Okay.
On them so that you can put them back into a normal drill motor.
Yeah. Did you ever see one of them little things? They have like a little crank for the real tiny drill bits, and you just hand crank it because it's so small.
I kind of wish I had something like that because I'm a little nervous. The last time I did this, I like very jankily clamped these tiny restrictors in some soft jaws and just like prayed and went through a lot of drill bits because I kept breaking them.
Yeah. They make a thing, it's like a little handheld, like an old school, like before power drills. It has a little wheel on it. Has a real tiny chuck, and you can hold it and just turn it real slow because the drill sometimes even it just has too much torque for that tiny bit, just snaps it right off.
Yeah. I have a drill, like a bench drill press that I'm going to use this time, and I'm going to take a block of aluminum and thread some holes in it and screw the restrictors into the hole so that they're held like very nicely and vertically. and use the drill press this time. What
That'll
Rodney
be a
said.
lot- That should be a
All right.
lot better.
Yeah, Rodney said, I just sandblasted my air fuel sensors to extend their life after 4 Dragon dries. Just might be a terrible idea. Thoughts? I honestly don't know. I would have maybe walnut blasted it. I don't know, because I imagine you can get them wet as long as you don't power them before they dry. So I almost would have maybe just like cleaning fuel injectors. I almost maybe would have like sonic cleaned them. But I honestly don't know. Okay, this drill bit I think is going to work. It measures 61. I'm going to say that it's going to make a 62 thousandths hole just for drill walk. Okay. That puts me at needing to up the rear jet to a 95. And that's going to reduce. So hang on. I'm going to share my screen just to show what I've been playing with. So I made this pretty, I'm sure I can find a better one online, but I like to play with Excel. So this top section is like my current carburetor setup as I just measured it this evening. And I've got a total secondary fuel area and a total primary fuel area, combining jets and power valves. And I have it give me a ratio. And right now it's the primary side has 20% more fuel area than the secondary side. And I did my cruising. I just have this over here. So this is the current air fuel ratio and the target air fuel ratio. So this is my percent of fuel change I need. So I'm applying that to the fuel area. So my current fuel area is 0.0032. My recommended fuel area is going to be 0.0042. So actually I need to go a little smaller. I forgot to adjust that. 0.73. All right, so I need a 73 jet in the primary. And a 97 jet in the secondary. And that puts me at the secondaries having 3% more fuel area than the front. So very, very even front to back versus before. Richer on the primary jets for the cruising. Yeah. So that's what I'm playing with. If any of our 2 viewers think differently, let me know what you think. This thing even came with spares of the 3 smallest sizes. I do appreciate that, because they're like, we know you're going to break the first one, so here's some spares.
Yeah, that sounds like pretty technical stuff. I had an air fuel gauge in my car when I was running E85, and I could never get that thing to read right. I don't know why, but I just couldn't get it to read right. It was always reading like 9.0s all the time. And I'm like, okay, either it's really not tuned right or something was up. I don't know.
What did your spark plugs tell you?
Well, they told me that the timing was good, but to the best that I could read them, I'm not real good at reading them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have the
you just need more experience with it. I don't have much experience reading plugs either, and I don't have the scope or anything to like really look down in at the fuel ring. And plus, I was burning so much oil the last go around on this engine build that the plugs were so ugly. I really couldn't tell anything unless I did a fresh one and then cut it clean.
Right.
And so like we did like 1 or 2 plug checks on the dyno a year ago, and we left the fueling alone, and I I stopped worrying about it. All right, what did I
Yeah,
say the
and
primaries need to be? They need to be 73s. Okay.
yeah, sorry, I keep getting you all
No, you're good.
distracted.
No,
But
no, keep
yes,
going.
so um, I know that like when I was driving it around, it'd be at like 12, 12, 2, 12, 3. But when I would run it, it'd get down in the nines and it'd start flashing at me. But I'm like, I guess I just didn't understand the 85 enough. And the only reason I ran the 85 was because I had high compression used pistons. That's all I had to put together. So that's all I used, So I
Oh,
had to run the 85.
you're running 85. Okay, so that sounds closer to correct, but I wonder, I don't know if you have to have a different O2 sensor for E85. I don't think you do.
I don't, and that was another question. The one that I bought, I'm thinking that it reads fuel, but does it, so when I go back to gas, is that going to mess me all up? Is it going to read goofy or is it going to read correctly and it read wrong the whole time I was on the 85? I need to
I've
find that
never
paperwork.
seen I've never seen anyone say they switch O2 sensors when they switch to E85 or back. I
Right.
don't I
You
don't
would
think that's the
figure,
case.
I think
I
it's
think
just measuring the oxygen and then you saying, okay, if this much is oxygen, then this much has to be fuel. So it doesn't matter what the fuel is, or I could be totally wrong. Who knows?
I honestly don't know. That would be I may have to look that up and learn more.
Yeah, that I don't know. But and now I'm like, well, I'm going back to gas, so it really don't matter. I'm going to shoot to get this motor about 10-to-1 compression, which should be pretty good. But I got to play with the. I had a heck of a time with bearings on this motor. Did you have an issue get the proper clearances?
So, did you have to get X's? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty typical just because the rule of thumb given for race engines is quite a bit looser than like a factory clearance.
Right.
Like I had to do the same. I actually like I had to get X's and like it was even still like kind of tight, but then you look at factory clearances and realize you're like way bigger than factory clearances. So I think
Right.
I was like I should be fine.
Yeah.
Because are you doing the like thousandths per inch of shaft diameter?
Yeah. And then I wasn't sure, so I'm like, I'm just gonna plastic gauge it and see what that says. And then I couldn't tell if like because the plastic gauge would be wide and then it would thin out. So I had to call in backup. A friend of ours does a lot of drag racing, and he owns an auto parts store. And I said, "Can you come look at this and just make sure I'm not screwing this engine up?" And he said, "Yeah." So he came down, looked at it. We checked it again. He said, "You're good." He said, "Just go with what you got." And then the rod bearings, there was no issue there. He said that the scat cranks usually come at the top end of the tolerance so that if they're shipped to like an engine builder, they can polish them down or whatever to the correct spec. Well,
Right.
we don't have the equipment to do that. So we have to play with bearings and make it work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
I ended up with like 6 different sets of bearings. I mean, I'll use them eventually, but the ones that got sent with the kit were King bearings and I ended up using them and then ordering a set that was a thou bigger hole, and it worked out. So, but that was a struggle. So I'm down to like 15 days before drag week. I'm like stressing. I got a lot of stuff to put together. So that's why I'm gonna take a trip out to Summit tomorrow and just pick up the rest of what I need. That way, it's not shipping it back and forth. It's like an hour and a half drive for me, but I'll just run out there.
Yeah, I've got like if I need to go to Summit, it's like a 30-minute drive, which is nice.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
also it's so close. I think you and I talked about this before. For me, if I don't need it same day, as long as I'm ordering enough to get free shipping, I just order it because it shows up next day.
Yeah, yeah. Mine, the last stuff I ordered came from down where you are in Texas, and it took like 4.5 days. And
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
think the warehouse they built down here because I think this is the latest warehouse. There might be a newer one than this one now, but I think they just like made it the big warehouse.
yeah, Talmadge, the one in Talmadge, Ohio, used to be the big one. And then that one I guess is bigger. So, but I think I have a lot of technical questions too, like with the heads, to make sure I get the right valve spring rate with what I have, because I already have the cam, and there's a lot of stuff that I just don't know. So I'm like, I'm not gonna. Every time you call, you get someone different who has a different opinion. So it's like, one guy said, "Oh yeah, you can run this." The other guy says you can't. So I just want to go over there and like get it ironed out, put the stuff in front of me, and make sure I have what I need because I'm running out of daylight on this deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like
Right.
you got to get cranking on it. You ideally need to be running early next week so that you can drive it around.
Exactly. Ideally. And so that's why I'm not gonna take them ahead to the machine shop or nothing. I'm just gonna just go buy a set that I know I can bolt them on. They're gonna work. Get my top end ironed out, and then the only thing that's a question after that is push rod length. With the new lifter setup.
Yeah,
So
they Howard's might have a recommended like starting point for you that might be helpful.
yeah, I could call and ask them. I did. In other news, I came up with it. I didn't come up with. I got the name for the car because last year Keith Turk told me I had to write B gas on the side of it because it doesn't have any lettering on it yet.
Okay.
And he said, technically, by the rules, it's supposed to have lettering or a name or whatever. And I
Mm-hmm.
just never could come up with a name that I thought was like good enough. So for years, my son, he's 10, he wanted me to name it the Tater Tot because it's golden brown like a tater tot. I'm like, I am not naming my car Tater Tot. It's just
That
not
sounds
that.
like the greatest name ever. What are you talking about?
I'm like, and then I was like, tater tots weren't even invented when this car was made. So of course he goes on Google, looks it up, and tater tots were invented in like 1957, and this is a 65. So technically they were invented. I'm like, I'm not naming it tater tot. I'm not doing it.
I'm not
So
doing it.
anyway, so my dad, when he was a kid, him and my uncle and my cousin had an old car, and they named it Frustration. And I don't know if you can see that. There's a picture of the car,
Oh, okay, yeah, I see it. Yeah.
and it was named Frustration, and it's about the same color. And I'm like, you know what? Frustration. I like it. I think that's what I'm gonna get painted on the car before drag week. Frustration. So I think that's the name I finally settled on.
Well, hell yeah.
So because I know that Keith Turk's not gonna be so friendly this time around. So because he said you got to get some letters on this thing to the rule set. I said okay.
Dude, I was reading because like Sick wrote an article about him stepping down from
Right.
his role with their events, and I was reading some guy's story. He's like, dude, he's like, I rented a trailer from U-Haul. I reserved one that was legal size for the class and everything, or for drag and drive. And U-Haul screwed me, and all they had was a bigger one. And Keith made me buy a bunch of empty cardboard boxes and tape them into boxes to take up the cubic feet that I wasn't allowed to have.
Oh, that's genius.
He's like, you can either get rid of the trailer or you can do this so that you can have your trailer.
I mean, he's real good at finding a way around the rules, but so I said, well, I said, Keith, what do you want me to do? Like, go find like a letter? Like, what do you want me to do? And he's like, go find someone in the pits that has shoe polish and just write B/G on the side of it. So then last year, drag week was really interesting because my wife was watching the standings and she goes, "You're not in gasser class." I'm like, "What do you mean I'm not in gasser class? Here I'm in like SME or something." They put the wrong sticker on my car. So like 3 days in, I'm like, I'm not even in the right class at all. In the beginning there was 3 gassers and there was actually 4. I was there. I was just in a different class. So
Yeah.
it was pretty wild. So I had to go. I went to the impound. I'm like, Keith, something got screwed up. I got the wrong number on my car or something. Can you fix it? He goes, yeah, I'll fix it. Good help's hard to find. He was joking around. So then he called somebody. Somebody brought the correct sticker over, and I said, since I'm an impound, do I get a sticker? He goes, I guess so. So he put a sticker on my car because I was technically an impound. So that's twice I got 2 impound stickers. One was 2018, and I forget why. I think he just wanted to look at the gassers, so he pulled us all into impound, and I got a sticker then, and then I got one from last year.
That's awesome. So you've been doing this. When was your first drag and drive?
My first drag and drive was 2018. And yeah, we went. That was the year the hurricane came up right at the end, and everyone was like leaving the state. It was when we did the Tail of the Dragon.
Oh, I heard about that. That was
Yeah.
'cause we did Tail of the Dragon last year on our event, but
Right.
yeah.
And we did it
Oh.
in 2018.
Rodney asked what you're running.
What
car?
I'm running? Oh yeah, a Ford Falcon. Here, I'll take you on a little tour. I've got anything in my hand. I wish I knew how to flip my camera. Wait.
Please show us around. Oh no, you let. I'll let you back in once you rejoin. Hang on. He just kicked himself trying to figure out the camera. There you are.
I hit the wrong button.
There you go.
That was not the flip the camera button.
He lettered up his 65 Comet Thunderball.
Nice.
I like
Thunderball. I don't know if you can see the car or not.
Yeah, we see it pretty good.
That's the side that just got painted. I had some bubbling down here from just the water and stuff.
Are those US mags?
I'm not sure. My dad, he bought them. He's an old school gasser guy. And I think David Freiberger every year in Techline comes over and tries to talk to me about these wheels and what they are and where I got them because he's an aluminum wheel guy. And my dad drove like 2 hours to a swap meet because he's seen them and he thought I should have bought them, and he went back and bought them the next day, and they just fit on my car just perfect. The way that they're machined is really different. I don't know if they're magnesium, but they're definitely old school.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So then I got my huge fuel cell in the trunk, 20 gallon. Takes up the whole trunk.
Jeez. All right, these are all somewhere floating in my carburetor drawer are 4 stock size power valve restrictors, and I need to find them just to make sure I'm not going to waste a bunch of effort making new ones. So somewhere amongst all of this crap from my dyno day are some restrictors floating around. So I just looked through my bag of restrictors, and those are all blank. These 2 tubs are empty. I would have expected them to be in here somewhere.
Oh, a couple weeks ago, you were doing some stuff to your oil pump in that car. What exactly were you doing?
Fixing a mistake I made when putting it together.
I got my new one, and I don't know. I mean, it might just be because it's a Mopar pump, but I was just bolted them on and never did anything with them. So
yeah, so something some people do, and I decided to do. So background, I blew the motor up in March, tore it down and rebuilt it, and missed a plug in the block and smoked it immediately in like the first 30 minutes of runtime. Yeah. And when I did that, when I did that original rebuild, I put a high volume pump on it, and when I smoked the main bearings, it wasn't immediately apparent. Like cutting the filter open wasn't showing me evidence of smoked bearings, but I had low oil pressure, and so I was trying to figure that out. So I replaced the pump thinking something was wrong with the pump. And when I did that, I put a standard volume pump back in, but I did a high pressure spring swap, which is a popular thing to do with these pumps.
Okay.
And, it was after that I realized I had a problem bigger than an oil pump, and I took it all the way apart, Well, when I took it all the way apart, I took that pump back apart and took the spring out of it because I was like, well, I paid for that spring. I want to keep the spring.
Yeah.
And so this go around, I was putting it together and I was like, I'm going to throw that spring in a new high volume oil pump just so I have a high volume, high pressure pump. And when I did that, the way it's held in is by like a cup plug that sits behind a cotter pin. And I thought it was like any other pump, the pressure relief valve. I thought what held the spring didn't matter to the inside of the pump. I thought it was just for a spring retainer. But for me, the cup plug on a Mopar pump is actually a seal for the suction side of the pump. And so I had when you remove that cup plug, you usually drill a hole in it to pry it out. And I had one that still was pretty good and round, but with a hole in it. And I was like, oh, I'll just reuse this because it's still round. All it does is hold the spring. Well, it turns out it seals the suction side. And so I didn't have any oil pressure. I primed it on the engine stand with a drill on high speed. And high speed on the drill was like 1800 RPM. And it turns out when you do that, you can pull enough oil past the hole to seal it off and get oil pressure. But then when you get it in the car at normal speed, really low RPM, like 400 RPM, it leaks. It just sucks air in front of the oil and doesn't prime.
Suck the oil out. Okay.
Yeah, and so what we were doing on the live feed is we were tracing. Hang on, my laptop is about to die. I need to run and get my charger. Give me 1 second.
Okay, no problem.
If I knew where my charger was. I thought it was here with my laptop. It's sitting over here. Oh, there it is. Oh, got it. Okay, we'll plug in. Got it. Okay. So what we were doing on the live feed is we were tracing the problem. So we started at the filter, took the filter off and ran a drill on the pump to see if it flowed oil, and it didn't. So then we took the line off at the input to the oil cooler to see if the cooler was the problem, and it wasn't.
Right.
And so then we took the pan off and we put a bowl of oil directly covering the pickup to see if it sucked oil there, and it didn't. And so then we pulled the pump off the block and took the pickup off and put like an NPT to AN fitting where the pickup goes and like a rubber hose just to see if there was like a crack in the pickup tube.
Right.
And there wasn't, because it was still doing it. And so then we used our fingers to cover the hole essentially, and it pumped oil great. And then as we were pumping, we'd take a finger off the hole and let it leak, and it would stop pumping. And so that's how we figured it out. And so I put it back together with a new cut plug, and it runs great. Idles at 40 PSI.
Nice. So I went with the 8-quart oil pan, and I was watching Kyle Morris the other day because he's this Ford guy. He works on a lot of small block stuff. And,
sick.
And he was on the front of his block. There's soft plugs in these for on the Fords for the oil rail for the lifters. And he's like, anytime you have a high volume oil pump, you should pull them soft plugs out and thread and tap that hole, because those soft plugs can pop out, and then it would create a scenario like yours where all your oil would just pump out of your lifter and you'd have no oil pressure.
Yeah.
So I did that. I had everything cleaned and honed and ready to go on this block. I took it to a machine shop and just had them lightly dip it and whatever. and detergent or whatever and cleaned it out and then brought it back. And then I decided to thread and tap those holes, which I was very careful with that. And then I started the assembly process. So, but it was real interesting to know that those soft plugs can pop out with the high volume oil pump. But any oil pump I've ever put on, I just bought it and put it on and it worked. You know what I mean? So that's why I was curious, like on your setup, how things were so different. Because on ours, we
Yeah,
just buy a melling oil pump, high volume, and it'll run it. It'll run 80 pounds oil pressure, depending. Cold or hot. So
yeah, it's a melling pump, and honestly, well, I know for a fact I would have been better off if I had just not touched it at all. And I think I may just stick to that from now on. Like,
right.
it's like I'm a tinkerer, and I'm just gonna treat it as a learning experience and not let it scare me from messing with stuff. But like,
Yeah.
it felt pretty dumb to not realize that till after the fact. But hey, I learned something new.
Right. Right. That's what it's all about. I mean, for me, I mean, if you always like to think if it's designed and engineered to work, it should just work, but that's not always
Yeah,
the case.
yeah,
Sometimes there's different things that, that they
yeah.
just
And
don't work.
you hear horror stories of you know people take a new pump apart and it actually has problems and things like that. And
Right. But yeah, I'll do the same with this. Uh, I'll put it in and I have a prime tool. I'll prime it and get oil pumped everywhere and then set the distributor in. Also I didn't know this either until I went to this roller setup. You have to buy a different drive shaft gear.
oh yeah, when you because it's because your camshaft material changed, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I had to do the same. I had to get a bronze gear for my solid roller cam.
Yep. I had to get one too, and those things were expensive. It was like $112. I'm like, holy, for a little gear, geez, oh man. But now, if you need it, if you need it, you need it. You know.
I just measured my float height. I need to write that down while I'm thinking about it. Okay. Oh, it's just a notification. Oh, Rodney said, "Beautiful car. Is that gold or more of a bronze in the daylight?"
It's definitely gold. Thanks, Rodney. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's definitely gold.
I
The
love
color,
gold.
yeah, the color is actually a sunray gold. It's actually a Ford color too. In the sunlight, the car looks like it has stripes down the side, but it's just the way the body lines work. The gold is darker underneath where the sun don't hit the top of it. So it's just one color, but it looks like it's multiple colors. So it's pretty neat.
Destroyer 1320 says, "Hey guys, what's up, man?"
Hey, what's going on? Okay.
Do I have a number 36 drill bit in this new kit? I doubt it. That'd be a shocker. Let's see. These are all in. So that says it needs to be 106. So what is? I know what an eighth is. What is 7 divided by 64? Okay, 109. The 7/64 will work. Now, do I have a chunk of aluminum that I feel like drilling and tapping a hole in? Let's see. I have this. machined block that I think my great grandfather made just for his like home garage. It might
Right.
even have the tap I need too. Huh, yep. Hi, I picked. You ever pick something up by a guess and it's the right size the first try?
Yeah, and then I think that something else is going to catastrophically fail because something went right.
Yeah. I was like, this looks like a 632 drill bit, and I picked it up and it was or a tap, and it sure enough it was a 632 tap.
Well, can't beat that.
What size is this drill bit that I grabbed? That is a 135 drill bit. Not sure what that is. Okay, so we'll stick to the drill bit I have. Man, there's even like, what size is this drill bit? This is the tiniest drill bit. Oh, that's another. I have a spare 62,000 drill bit. I don't know why I even have this. This drill bit's broken. You just toss that. There's no way I'm sharpening a 62,000 drill bit back into shape.
That probably is not going to work.
I bet this is another one. Yep, that's another one anyway. So I've got one right here. We're good.
Okay.
But I think I might just use this. So this is like just an aluminum block, like a puck. That it's like I think I might just put a hole in this and tap it and put my restrictors in here. Ooh.
Yeah.
I wonder if one of these holes is already about the right size. I am the laziest person when it comes to like little things like this. And so like any little thing I can do to get out of it or a shortcut I can take, I'm going to take. So let's see. That hole is probably close enough for what we're doing. Let's see. Let's pin up until that gets tight. That hole is the size of the drill bit I was going to use anyway, so we're just going to tap that hole.
Just roll with it.
I found a hole that is going to work, and we are just going to tap that hole and use it as our drill block. Now I need something that'll hold a tap this small.
Oh, that's quick.
This is a pretty cool little thing. I need a magnet bowl to put. There we go. To put all the stuff in it.
I need to make a list and think about everything I need at Summit tomorrow when I'm out there.
Yeah, I'm about to make a post because I'm getting ready for 666.
Yeah.
I'm about to make a post in the Sick the Mag group probably next week. Just like being like, hey, I did this for the circuit too. And just be like, hey, I live 20 minutes from Summit. If you need something, let me know by this time and I will pick it up before I hit the road.
Yeah.
And just deliver it to the track.
I wish I could do a sick event. I really do. But I'm lucky enough to get away one time a year. And eventually I'll do a 666 or a 6 Smokies, you know.
Yeah. 6 Smokies is the first one I've done. Technically the only one I've done. I was supposed to go to the circuit, but the car wasn't ready, so we took a buddy's car. But 6 Smokies was great. I really enjoyed it. But my goal is eventually drag week. And I think that's probably like, if everyone's being honest with themselves, it's probably most people's goal is to eventually do drag week at some point.
Right. I enjoyed drag week the most. I did one sick week, and it was fun. It really was. It was different. you know. But I like Drag Week because it just was the OG. I mean, it's harder, but I'm hoping maybe they might adopt some of these drive day rules, you know. But we'll see. Because I
Yeah,
think this year's a rule change, isn't it?
after this year, yes.
Right.
I think, or does the rule set go through 2027?
I don't remember.
Um, all right, let's see if that is deep enough to put one of these things in. If I could make my new restrictors tonight and get this thing buttoned back up and then maybe drive it tomorrow night to really test my theory, that would be awesome. All right, let's see if these blanks threaded here. Ha! They work. Yep. They thread in and they stop. I don't know how well people can see that. And the hole is plenty deep behind it to run a drill bit through it. So, bingo, bango.
That's good.
All right, now let's see. We need our like a whole bunch of drill bits. Actually, this is probably a whole nother pack of. Yep, these are also number 49s. So I have a whole bunch of these small drill bits, but I don't think these are interchangeable. No, you can't. I wish it had a set screw. There's not a set screw to change them out. But I've got those for a rainy day.
Just more you can break when you got to use them.
Exactly. I can break as many eggs as I want. All right, now let me remember what size hole I needed. Did I need to go to my smallest drill bit? I need a 62 thousandths hole, which I think this smallest drill bit is 61 thousandths. Let's see. Yep. Cool. All right, let me set this up on the drill press, and then I'll come back for y'all.
Okay.
And I'll put y'all on here. I have a vise, like a drill vise on my drill press, but it is the wrong size for the drill press, so I have to like put it on at like a weird cockeyed angle to get bolts into it.
Hey, I wanted to tell you too, that vise you told me to buy, that thing's awesome. I use that.
Oh, you bought the rod vise?
Yep, I bought the rod vise and used it a ton when I was getting everything measured up. I'd torque them and then loosen them for final assembly. It worked awesome.
Dude, it was definitely well worth it, and we'll use it again on Lou's engine when we put his engine together.
I mean, for what, $80? Like, I'll use it just in the garage to hold other stuff for that money. You know what I mean? That way, I ain't getting job marks in it. So that was awesome. Okay, heads, rocker arms, girdle, clutch, girdle for the transmission.
You could get a few different size push rods too, just in case you have like different intake and exhaust length needs, and then you can always return stuff to Summit.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But I don't know. I'm like going to be wildly different with these new lifters. than I was. I wonder if I ask AI if there's like a general spec to start with for small block Fords. That's a Grok question.
It'll probably find you something close.
Yeah.
All right. I've got that most of the way set up. I'm going to bring the laptop and the camera over here so that y'all can see what I'm doing. I've got like 50 cords plugged into this laptop right now, so I got to tread carefully. All right, let's see. Taking y'all on a trip. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Can y'all see the drill press pretty well? Laptop is not in danger of falling. We've got a fire extinguisher ready to go. Not that we'll need it. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Now,
let's see good.
Now the tricky part of lining this thing up. All right. Somewhere right about there, and then I need to move this thing. Okay. Okay, that seems to be going through decently without a bunch of interference. So we're going to give that a shot. Wow, that's a lot of drill walk. At least we're drilling brass. Oh, we're already through. Look at that. That was quick. One thing I didn't think about. Wait, ooh. I should be able to just suck this drill bit further up. Out of my way. Well, not very far out of the way. That might be enough to get the restrictor out and put a new one in. Probably not, though. Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to. It's like a whistle. I never found the stock power valve restrictors that I took out of this carburetor. Not sure what happened to them. So I don't even know what size they were. Rodney's got some name ideas for your car. Did we lose Chris? He must have gone inside.
Oh,
He said Rodney's got some name ideas for your car. Put the comment on the screen.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Ford Knox and Golden Bold.
Yeah, I like that. I've had a bunch. I was thinking. I wrote down Golden Nugget was one. Gold Rush. I was looking for my distributor. I wanted to make sure I got the correct gear for the end of it. That's where I was at.
Is Gold Member too much on the head?
Yeah, I was thinking Gold Digger too.
That's a good one.
I thought Gold Digger.
I'm pretty sure we've seen a Gold Digger gasser though.
Yeah, that's the hard part too. Is like there's a lot of gasser names out there.
At some point, I think you just have to decide you're going to name it what you want to name it.
Right. Well.
Okay. This method made doing this way less daunting than the last time I did this.
No, that's good.
It's like now I'm not scared to make even new transfer slot restrictors either. Let's see if I can make the camera see the tiny hole. I don't know how well it's focusing.
Yeah, you can see it a little bit.
There we go.
Yeah.
Those that came out actually pretty damn good. All right, we're gonna pin these and see what they actually come out to. Okay. Let's see. Let's bring y'all back across the garage. Now that we're done drilling holes. What time is it?
It's 10 where I'm at.
It is 8:51. Okay, I got probably 10-15 minutes before I'm calling it. So
Yep. I'm glad I checked this gear because it is not the right gear for this distributor. So I'm glad I checked that.
So you need to buy another gear and press it on?
Well, this one, so this I don't know if what I'm missing. This gear actually has looks like a roll pin that goes clear through it. But the new gear only has a hole in one side that doesn't go clear through like that one does. So I don't know if that's a design change or what. Because that one has a roll pin that looks like you just beat the pin out and then the gear comes off. Maybe the pin that's not supposed to go the whole way through on this one.
All right, these pins pretty much exactly what I predicted. You should, as far as I know, well, I'm still thinking of Chevy distributors, but I would imagine you just punch that roll pin out and exchange it.
Yeah, but this gear only has a hole on one side, and this gear goes clear through to the other side. That's my hang up. I think what I'll do is just take this off and take it with me to Summit. And be like, here's what I got. It's off an MSD distributor. And then maybe I'll get the numbers off of this and see if there is a number on it. It says December of 2018.
Are the folks at your Summit helpful? Because ours, like, it's very clearly like just young people that needed a job.
I'll let you know after tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's not knocking them, but like, you know, like you see, like, do you watch Old Man's Garage?
No.
Okay. So he's in Ohio, and he goes to two different Jeg stores quite often because he actually knows the folks there, and like they're actually like kind of older people that have been there for quite a while that kind of actually are knowledgeable.
Right.
It's like, man, that would be kind of nice.
I have a friend of ours that owns the local parts store, and he's a racer and he owns a parts store. So like if I have any serious questions or concerns, I'm going to him first, and then he'll say, and he's one of them guys where he doesn't use the computer. He like gets the book out and starts looking through books. He's very old school.
Dude, I
So
love going through the books. Like if I can, like I miss like I used to have like for bearing shopping when I built engines when I was in engine building school, like you had a Cleveite bearing book and you would actually
right,
like flip through it and look up your engine block. And I preferred that way more than trying to find it online.
right, and that's what
I
he
love
does.
Yeah, I love books.
So because we were talking about heads, because I wanted his opinion today on what heads I should get. And and I'm like, I don't want to spend a fortune, so we found a set, and he goes, well, that would be good. I think that's a good, it was a 200 intake runner compared to an 80 or a 180 intake runner. He's like, oh, this is the one you want. That'll do good. That's exactly what you're looking for. And I'm like, well, he's never done me wrong yet, so if that's what he says, I'm going with it. So he's like my guy. If I'm struggling really hard and I need to go talk to somebody, he's the one that I go talk to.
Well, that's good that you got him. That's awesome. How was this kit in here? Was it like must have been in there like that. And then this pin kit goes in here. All right, well, I think I can put this carburetor back together. Actually, no, other thing I was gonna. Okay, so now I gotta know, like, so this is clearly not a transfer slot on the secondary. It's just a hole. Like, I don't know how much are you carbureted or fuel injected?
I'm carburetor.
Okay, so you're familiar with the transfer slot, right?
Yes, somewhat.
Yeah. So mine right now is too exposed because I've had to mess with the idle a bunch to get this thing to idle.
Okay.
Because they say, I think they say general rule of thumb is like the transfer slot is like a rectangularly machined slot. They say good rule of thumb to start with anyway is to turn it into a square from underneath. So like you close the throttle blade until you see just a square worth of the slot. And so I'm going to
starting point.
Then that's your starting point. Well, because you don't want to do it too much because then you're not pulling off the idle circuit. Fuel-wise, you're pulling fuel off the transfer slot.
Right.
So I'm going to reset it. And it's probably going to be really annoying when I first start this thing. But I'm going to see if I can't get a better idle AFR by making sure I've got this how it's supposed to be.
So your concern with the AFR at all is just what? Detonation, performance? What's like, I never really understood. I mean, in boosted applications, like I get it. It's super relevant because you're forcing, air and fuel in there.
I'm just trying to, learn and improve and do better.
Right.
Plus, when this thing originally blew up, it spun a rod bearing basically out of nowhere. Like it still had 40 psi after spinning a rod bearing. And so, and the main bearing that fed it was fine. So I took that to mean there was an issue with my tune. Okay. Usually from my knowledge and from what I've seen, if you beat up a rod bearing without hurting a main bearing, it's a tune problem. And I had another rod bearing that was right behind it, like about to let go as well. So I took that as one, I knew I had too much timing in it for all of the miles I drove and all of the racing I did.
Right.
And being super lean on the highway also probably wasn't helping the situation.
Right.
So I'm trying to avoid that.
So a too lean condition is where you have detonation. Is that accurate statement or inaccurate?
As far as I know, so lean's going to make it run hotter, and yes, right. you'll have lean detonation.
Okay, that's okay. So okay, well, that's you're teaching me because I know some about it. I put the air fuel ratio thing in my car just to see, but I never did. Like I changed jets in it. I asked other guys at Drag Week, like guys I was pitting with, and they're like, "Oh, it sounds a little lean." I'm like, "Okay, so let's put a bigger
Yeah.
jet in it." You know what I mean? Guys
Yeah.
that were older that had a lot more knowledge of carburetors than I do. I mean, I am pretty limited on what I've learned about them. Um,
Sure.
but there's
Yeah.
a lot more to it than
Oh yeah.
I
And I'm
thought.
not afraid to admit that I'm pretty confident I don't know very much anything either. I need to get more books and read more on it. But like just some stuff I've watched, and like I watch Big Chief's YouTube channel, and he's putting a small block Chevy back together and was actually going back through the carburetor, and he had just some little tidbits of advice on where to start. So that's also kind of what I'm doing at the same time while I'm here, is like
Right.
that's where I saw the transfer slot thing, and I'd seen it other places, but he explained it in a way that I was like, okay, I understand that now. And he's like, yeah, most people, he's like, you set your transfer slot and then you tune your idle with the secondaries. And so it's like, okay, well, he could be right, he
That's
could be wrong. He's probably not wrong. I'm gonna give that a shot and see where I end up.
yeah. Well, I mean, you don't know until you try it, and then if it's
Yeah,
all,
yeah,
and
because
then
he's
those idle air mixture screws are on the four corners, right?
yeah, and so you've got those. And then another thing I saw him talking about, he's like measure your float height, which I just did also so that I know what that is. And he's like your float height helps influence your air fuel as well across the entire curve. And so he's like, if you need it a little richer everywhere, raise the fuel level up a little bit. If you need it a little leaner everywhere, lower the fuel level a little bit. And I'd heard that from a few other people too. I just hadn't tried it yet. Most of what I'm doing is like I'm just trying to spend more time actually like trying stuff so that I learn more.
Yeah. And meanwhile, I'm over here panicking, just trying to get my junk together to make it to the event.
Yeah. It's like I'm trying to take my time in the 4 weeks I have
Yeah.
and like actually make some improvements before I get there so that my buddy who's coming with me doesn't feel like we're wasting our time or spinning our wheels.
Yeah. Well, when I went in 2018, me and my dad took his Fairlane, and that's when I asked my wife to marry me. Was at the starting line at ZMAX Dragway. I
Oh
handed her a
no
ring out the
shit.
window. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. And I was gonna like get out of the car and like kneel down, and then I was like, I was kind of nervous. I'm like, well, what if they get mad? Like we're trying to race here. What's this dude doing? In hindsight, I wish I would have done it, but I had her come up on the. You can see it on the live feed, and I handed her a ring out the window. The funniest part was I raced this dude. He's from Canada. He has an '80s Camaro, and he ran like a 980. And my car's running, I just had a regular like stock small block. My car's running 1450 quarter miles, right? So the guy
Yeah.
like blows past me. So we get to the pits, and obviously, you know, my wife Kylie, she comes running up, and we're like hugging it out, and he's like looking at us like, I didn't think it was that good of a pass, dude. You ran like a 14. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. We just got engaged at the starting line. That's why we're celebrating. It
Yeah.
was so funny. He's like, dude, I blew your doors in on that pass because he ran a 990. I'm running like 1480, It was
Yeah.
so funny. But then we celebrated the rest of the week, and it was awesome. So
That is truly awesome.
yeah, it was
The
it was
other
a good time.
yeah. The other thing I'm seeing is I have like open Slack on my what do you call it? The accelerator pump arms. And it's like if I move the cam, I think that's going to be holding it open. I could try that. I can move the cam and see if that takes the slack back off, but then that moves the curve. Well, that's not helpful. Try this little screwdriver. That works.
I'm going to try to get this roll pin out so I can take this gear with me to Summit tomorrow.
Okay, so what are my options here? If I move it into the other hole, that's basically having it all the way through the curve before we even start. Like, I wonder if I should just bend the arm down. Really what I need is a longer bolt and shims on the spring.
So you don't have wiggle at your accelerator pump.
Yeah, what I've got is an excessive amount, or what I think is excessive. So like, it just take a little bit of slack gets taken up when the secondaries first start to open before it actually like triggers the accelerator pump. But I haven't had a problem with fueling there, so I think I'm gonna leave that alone for now. I'm gonna try not to mess with too many things at once.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep putting this back together. I did notice that I'm missing a bowl vent extension on the primary side.
So I just noticed something on this distributor. The gear has a letter on it. The new one has an S on it, and the old one has a C on it. Wonder what that means.
Is that the material maybe? Maybe steel or steel versus
composite?
Are there composite gears?
Yeah, this one I think is a steel one. I mean, it sounds like steel. Try to get this roll pin out.
Okay. That's on there. All right, I didn't touch the idle mixture screws. I may have to mess with those. I shouldn't have to as long as I have the airflow right. So like now that I know the transfer slot is different or non-existent on the secondaries, that might help my tuning. But I've also seen people have to drill holes in their throttle blades, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But now that I see it, these were already exposed, so I see no harm in opening my secondary blades even more because it should just only let more air in. It's not like I'm exposing a fuel slot any more than it's already exposed.
Right. I mean, it makes sense to me, but limited knowledge again.
Yeah, same. I mean, we'll find out.
Yeah.
I'll find out real quick when I fire it up and it doesn't want to run.
Yeah. All right. This roll pin is being a bugger. Sorry for the banging, but
Oh, you're good. Don't worry.
there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. I think it'll be long. I need a longer punch. All right.
I am missing a 3/8 wrench.
I'm going to walk over and get a punch. Be arguing.
Sounds good. Let's see if I can lengthen this bolt just a little bit. Okay, that's about as much as I want to do without having a shim in there. And I guess I could put a shim on it to tighten it up. I've got little washers. I'm going to put a little copper washer on that and shim that spring just a little bit.
Well, found an Allen wrench, but I don't think it's going to work real good to get that out of there.
An Allen wrench should work fine as long as it's the right size.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut the end of it off though, because it's like every time I hit it, it's flying to the side, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe if I got a nail would work. A nail would keep it centered and it'd give me a surface to hit. Let me see if I can find a nail.
The only thing I worry about with a nail is it's a wedge, and so it might just wedge it out.
Yeah, that's true too. Well, I guess I could cut the point of it off, maybe. Wish I had the right size punch.
Might be best just to take the whole distributor in.
Yeah. Could do that.
Okay. All right, I've got this spring shimmed better. I like that better. All right. It is 9:12. I think I need to call it. I'm going to go toss this back on the car and pray that we have something to work with tomorrow.
Work.
I'm not even close. I'm not even close to the transfer slot on the rear. So I have way more room to open the rear blades to set my idle.
Oh, that's good.
Okay. I'm going to start with that at a square two and see where that gets me. That's probably why this pump arm didn't want to engage. See, now I got to loosen this pump arm. Ha! I'm learning something new.
Almost out. Got it. Okay. Now I gotta not lose this roll pin. Finally got it out of there. I took a nail and cut the end of the nail off, flat. And then that was the right size to get it beat out of there. So I got the pin out. Now I just got to get the gear off, and then I'll take this one back, take this one with me. Because like I said, this one has two holes and the roll pin goes clear through from end to end, where the other one only has a hole on one side. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be, but either way, I got to take it apart. So I might as well take it in and have them look at it and say, hey, this is what's up, or
right.
Whatever from there. Now, does this press on, or is it just...
nice and tight.
It just sits on there.
All right. I think we have ourselves a reset carburetor. Chris, I'm gonna toss this back on the engine, then I'm gonna call it a night, buddy.
All right, man. Sounds good. Thanks for letting me hang out.
Oh hell yeah. Yeah, I'll keep it on until I get this put on.
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting pretty tired here. It's 10:15 here, so. Yeah, that's not moving at all.
All right. Fuel lines are tight. It's just hooking everything else back up.
I think this gear's still pressed on, even though it had a roll pin in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put it in the press because it is not coming out.
I'm gonna try to go back to the springs that came with this carburetor bracket too, just because they look nicer. See if I'm okay with that or if I want to stick with these. Mm-hmm.
Does your distributor have springs in it?
Yes, it does. It is not locked out.
That's another battle that I need to deal with, but I could never get the timing curve right on that other setup. But that was the 85, so it's like a whole different animal.
Yeah, I've got my lightest springs in it right now.
So it goes to full timing quicker.
Yes. Okay, I have the arm for these springs, but now I got to find a bolt. Evidently, I put the bolt elsewhere, so. Okay, I've identified the thread. Now I just need a shorter version of the bolt. Oh, I just realized I've got y'all pointing where I'm not. So I think this is the right thread. That's actually too small. This will be the right thread, but it's probably too short. Yeah, slightly longer. This long bolt would technically work. I don't want it this long. Oh, what is this nice Allen bolt? That would probably work just great. That does work. Okay. Well, that bolt's too long. It's running into other stuff.
Distributor gear.
This technically also go like this. All right, now I need to find an even shorter bolt.
Cole, are you gonna do drag drive repeat news this Saturday?
I don't know, probably not, because I got to do it last week, so hopefully they find someone else to get to do it. But I told them I'd be a backup if they need it. But
That was cool.
yeah,
I enjoyed watching.
I think it's a really cool privilege to get to do it. So
Yeah.
I hope someone takes them up on the offer, because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll happily do it again, but
yeah, I messaged Mike Narks today and was like, hey, he was saying on the show he did yesterday with Brian Lowndes, which was good, about the he had summit codes for 100 off 1,000. I'm like, I'm going to buy a set of heads. Send me one of them. I'll use it tomorrow.
yeah, definitely take him up on those codes.
Yeah, so he sent me one code. I'll use it tomorrow when I go over there to buy that stuff. Save me $100. I mean, that's
Perfect. All right. Probably screwing up my return spring tension and everything, but I'd like this setup to be cleaner. that can probably get reduced. There's a 4. Just enough to hold the throttle shut. Oh, now I see why I didn't use this thing before. It interferes with where I have the throttle hooked up. It's like I could move the throttle cable down one more, or I could just take this back off and go back to what I had. I think I'll just take it off and go back to what I had.
This.
That's about where it was. Okay. Okay, let's throw these springs back on. These, we could not fit these through the same hole, right? I just want to be fighting this little spring tension. On opening the throttle. Okay. Let's try that and see where it gets us. Now I'm actually going to call it before I get in trouble.
Sounds good.
Hey, Chris, thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, no problem. It's been fun. Thank you. I worked on some stuff and planned for tomorrow, and I got a list of stuff to go to Summit and get, so it worked out.
Yeah, no, it's been a very productive evening.
Yep, likewise.
And we are down to 0 watchers.
Oh, no, it's just us. Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, for anyone that watches this back, thanks for watching. Chris and I got a lot done. This has been a very productive night of Live from the Shop, and we'll see you next week.
See you later.